I'm Jason Bahamundi with the blog Cook, Train, Eat, Race. As you are well aware, if you're a follower, I'm going to be conducting some interviews on the site and just try to bring a little bit more information to those of you who are following and to anybody who's new to the blog about just different types of things, whether it be age group athletes who are just doing their first Ironman to coaches and athletes who are getting started, or marathon runners, or just about anybody that's going to enhance the idea of endurance sports. So today we're going to be interviewing Jennifer Rowe from Fat to Finish Line, the blog, as well as the documentary. We're going to be talking to her about the struggles that she had as she was going through the weight loss process and getting started in this endurance world. In addition to that, we're going to talk about the movie that she's going to be making, a documentary that's going to be starting in a week from tomorrow, actually, the Ragnar Relay down in Miami to Key West. And we'll talk a little bit about a show that she just got picked up on the DIY network called Logheads that I was just getting informed about, which is pretty interesting. So I really would like to take the time now to bring on Jennifer Rowe and say thank you for joining us. Jennifer, thank you for being a part of the show.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for inviting me to be on the show. It's very exciting.
So, as I said, I'm going to try to keep this to about 30 minutes, and what I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit first about the process, the struggles, everything that you went through in going through the weight loss process and getting to the where you're at today and where you'd like to go in the future. So the floor is all yours. Please fill us in.
Thanks. Well, like many Americans out there, I struggled with my weight on and off for most of my life. And it was basically, for me, a yo-yo situation. I'd be great, I'd be horrible. I was black or white. I was always either eating really, 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 really strict and well, and portioning out a half a tiny piece of chicken over plain lettuce, or it was a bacon cheeseburger deluxe with a milkshake. There was no balance or in between. So for a long time, and anybody could be really strict for a while and lose weight and be successful. So I'd have these spurts where I'd be very successful. I could go for months and be successful in taking off weight, but I could never figure out how to keep it off. It really, there's a lot of talk about making it a lifestyle and all of that, but it just never clicked for me for a long time. And like many people, I kind of kept trying to do things the quote-unquote easy way, and what I learned was there really is no easy way, but it doesn't have to be hard. And finally, it all started to make sense for me when I gave up being fat phobic, I gave up being afraid of food, and it started to embrace food as something my body needed, and found running. It finally occurred to me, wow, you know what, there is something to a healthy lifestyle. It can't just be diet, it can't just be exercise, it's got to come together. And when I found running, that was really the missing piece for me. And that was even fluky, because I'm the type of person that nobody will ever look at and say, oh, you're going to run marathons, you're going to be an endurance sport athlete. Oh my, not me. I mean, in the day I smoked cigarettes, I drank tequila, it was as unlikely as saying I was going to the moon. But sometimes you just have to kind of give yourself a challenge and find a training plan and find people who are going to support you in doing something that's totally outrageous, and then it becomes less outrageous and more of your reality.
Right. Well, we all have our own stories, and obviously we all have a moment in time that is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. Mm-hmm. So what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you, besides the yo-yo dieting, going up and down? Finally, one day you had to sit down and say, I'm going to go find that training plan, or I'm going to buy a new pair of running shoes. Right. What was the straw?
For me, my entire life, I was okay with being chubby. I was always content with, I'd lose a little bit of weight, and as long as I kind of settled around a size 14, I was like, oh, okay, that's where I'm going to be, and it's okay. I'm pleasantly plump. I was comfortable at 14. I was comfortable at 16. So I kept thinking to myself, as long as I can maintain that. But after I got pregnant with my son, and I woke up one day, and I was no longer a comfortable 14 or 16, but I was a very uncomfortable 22, and my highest weight probably was around 255 pounds, and my ankles hurt, and I had gestational diabetes, and all of a sudden it was no longer kind of cute or kind of chunky but funny. It wasn't cute. It was, my health was in jeopardy. It was, this is not an okay way to live. I needed to be responsible for my health, not just for myself, but for my family. Like, I had worked very hard to quit smoking. I'd taken other healthier measures in my life, and for me, food was the last battleground. And I think that, like a lot of people in my situation at that time, you don't take food seriously as a weapon. Cigarettes come with a warning on it, but fast food doesn't. And you think fast food's fun, it's a treat, but to me, I've come to grow to appreciate that it's as deadly, when used as directed, as cigarettes, and right. And I just didn't want to die. I didn't work hard to give up smoking to die of heart disease. Right. And it was a long process. It took me 3 years to lose the weight. It wasn't overnight. I stumbled, but I kept picking myself up. This time around, they decided that it didn't matter if it took 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, 60 years. I wasn't going to stop, because the alternative was to live an obese life. And then along the way, I found running, and that really brought me to the next level.
That's awesome. I mean, that's just great. Recently on your blog, which is cgenrorun.blogspot.com, correct? Mm-hmm. You posted about 2-year anniversary at being at your ideal weight?
My goal weight.
Your goal weight.
And that's my ideal weight. I mean, to me, it's, I'm never going to be the skinniest girl in the room, but I'm one of the healthiest girls in the room, I feel like. You know what I mean? Well, it depends on who I'm hanging out with. But, for the most part, in the crowd I run in, I definitely can run the furthest in my crowd. But, yeah, I mean, like, that was the other thing. I'm never going to be 120 pounds in a size 2. So for me, my ideal weight, my goal weight, my healthy weight, I'm at a normal BMI weight, I can fit my clothes and maintain this weight is about 144, 145 pounds. And when I start to creep up past, when I get to 148-ish, I know that I need to start to really count my calories again and watch a little bit closer. But I found balance, and at that weight, I can maintain that weight. I dip a little bit lower when I'm really in hardcore training for a marathon or a half marathon. But for the most part, that's where I feel good. That's where I function well, and yeah, I'm super proud of maintaining it, because, like I said, I could take it off a million times over, but I was never able to maintain it. So to me, the celebration isn't that I took it off. The celebration is that I'm actually living it. I finally get it. It's finally a lifestyle, and that to me, and I know I'm never going to go back, because I live this. I feel comfortable. I don't feel deprived. I look forward to what I eat and how I exercise.
So as a person who was once obese, who now is an athlete, but we've got the holidays here. You're traveling a lot with your job. Mm-hmm. Give some advice to somebody at home who's thinking to themselves, this is impossible. I can't do this. What's one simple piece of advice you can give them?
Just never give up. I mean, you're not going to get graded on this. Nobody's sitting behind you with a report card saying, oh, she ate another cookie, she's out. Nobody cares. Everybody has their struggles. If you eat a cookie, it's a cookie. It's over. It's gone. What can you do at your next meal to be better? Can you drink an extra glass of water? Can you, exercise for an extra 10 minutes? Can you, do something positive for yourself? Can you meditate? I feel like a big misconception is a lot of people with weight problems are lazy or undisciplined. To me, that's the furthest thing from the truth. A lot of us, myself included, are A students who are perfectionists. And if things aren't perfect, then it's like, I can't do this. But now, if I can't run the 5 miles I want to, because life is busy, I run 3, and it's okay. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. If I mess up plenty with food, but 80%, 90% of the time I try to get it right. The other 10 or 20% of the time, it's okay. That's life. A French fry is going to happen occasionally, you know? And I think the biggest piece of advice is whether it's a holiday thing or a travel thing, you just do the best you can at any given moment. If you make a mistake, there's always a next meal. Like, you've got 3 or 4 meals a day. So if you get just 3 of those right, you're doing better.
Absolutely. No, I hear you. You were talking about you're going to be the healthiest person in your group. Speaking of groups, so you're going to be running Ragnar Relay from Miami to Key West,
Right.
from Fat to Finish Line, filming a movie. And for those of you who are watching at home or watch down on our YouTube channel in the future, here's their Facebook page, From Fat to Finish Line, the documentary. You've got nearly 3,000 likes already, which is awesome. Congratulations. That is just awesome. Tell us a little bit about that and what that is going to entail for you for a couple of weeks.
Okay, number one, I'm possibly not the healthiest person in that group, just to clear that. There are healthier people, but in any case, I say I'm about average in that group. But in any case, with that, this project is so amazing to me, and this is what's really exciting, is when you make one positive change in life, everything else starts to follow. And this is a perfect example. When I was overweight and struggling, and you know, I've always been a filmmaker and a storyteller, and this has been my passion. But if it wasn't for all of my good changes, I would have never come upon this project, which is, to me, is the project of my life, of my dreams. And basically, I'm teaming with 11 other people. So there's a total of 12 of us on the team that have all lost about 100 pounds or more through healthy eating and primarily running. And there's, you know, we run the gamut from people who have, you know, lost more than 100 pounds. We have, you know, Jen Small on the team, who's, you know, a sponsored triathlete and, you know, does incredible things. We have someone on the team who's about halfway to her goal, so she's not even at her goal yet, but has been really, putting in the time and effort to get there. So it's an incredible group of people to be a part of, and it's really exciting. And, you know, I can't even take credit for this group. I follow, and this is another nice thing, when you start running or eating right or whatever, there's this whole world of people like yourself that you get connected to that can support your dreams and goals and listen to you when you're having a hard time. And there's a blogger that I followed named Katie, and she writes a really amazing blog called Runs for Cookies. And she and I kind of followed each other's blogs, and she invited me on this team. And her and our team captain, Rick Akey, came up with this concept and just invited me as a runner. Had no idea that I also have this small production company and you know, television experience and that background. And my partner Angela Lee and I, as we got to know the people that I was going to be running with, we were just like, oh, this could really make for an motivational and inspirational film for a lot of people out there who think that they can't, because we were all 12 people who thought at one time we couldn't. We were facing down heart disease. We were facing down diabetes. We, you know, our captain couldn't even tie his shoes. You know what I mean? We were in no position to even walk quickly through a supermarket, never mind run 200 miles. So I think that with all the stories we have to tell, I think it's going to be an interesting story to tell, and I'm excited to be a part of it and honored.
As a marketing executive, I need you to slow down a little bit. I know you're from Jersey. I'm from New York. It's amazing we haven't spoken over top of each other just yet. But as a marketing executive, you got to promote a couple of things. The blog that you mentioned, it's runwithcookies.com?
Runsforcookies.com.
Runsforcookies.com.
Yeah, Katie.
This small little production company you have is called what?
Oh, Media Melt Studios. And this is our second documentary. Our first documentary is called Happy on the Ground, 8 Days at Grammy Camp. It's premiering. It'll be available for downloads. I think it's the second week of February during the week of Grammy Week. We made it with the Grammy people, and they're going to actually talk about it on the Grammys. So we're excited.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes.
And so what kind of information can you share with us about the documentary about the Ragnar Run? When do you think it might be able to...